Still alive, I see. Something tells me that eyesore on the horizon is your doing. How'd you manage that?
It's a long story. One that I'd rather only tell once.
Right. All hands on deck, then.
Is this everyone? As I'm sure you've all guessed, the crystal which now commands the eastern skies was summoned by Ultima. He called it Origin. Though the significance of that name is as yet unclear.
What does it matter what it's called? Its emergence tore Twinside asunder and wiped my homeland from the map.
Mention of the Dominion spires can be found in the oldest of Valisthean records. But to the best of my knowledge, none provide any hint as to their true nature. That they would prove the horns of some slumbering demon. Well...
The Dominion's demise was at least quick. Elsewhere, the Republican army cannot hope to contain the chaos engulfing Randalar. Canva is in flames, and the Empire...
Our allies are crying out for answers. I've sent the Cursebreakers to give them what assurances we can, but right now that amounts to fuck all.
They wouldn't be able to stop what the skies have started in any case. People here and across the realm grow sicker with every passing day.
Could it be that this new Mother Crystal is like the others? That it draws upon the land's aether? It certainly looked that way from stone here.
If that were true, it would explain the hastening spread of the Blight since the crystal's appearance. Would it not?
And as the land's aether slowly rises to the surface, it pools, corrupting all who cannot channel its energies. Archay above, aether floods below, and in the middle, here we languish, hopelessly entrapped.
It's all right. When we faced him at Stone here, Ultima told us his true power quickens in the halls of Origin. Needless to say, we cannot allow that to continue. If we are to stop him, we will have to find a way into the crystal.
How are we going to manage that then? It's up in the sky. And fast as she is, the Enterprise can't fly.
It's a lot to take in, and I reckon we'd all benefit from some time to clear our heads. The answer will come to us. Don't you worry. Ain't that right, Clive?
Right. That's right.
Well, go on then. Bugger off. Same goes for you, Clive. You won't solve anything like this. Trust me. Go and get some fresh air, eh?
Thank you. Joshua seemed upset. Ultima may have created us, but he doesn't make us who we are. Only we can do that. And if he would have us fight for our survival, so be it. It's what we've been doing all along.
Much like Ultima himself, it would seem. His new world being naught but a means to survive. And so, we must contend to decide which of us shall inherit the land. Should Ultima prevail, it will mean death for us all. Of that, we can be certain. But even should he fail, what world awaits us? A withered, godless place, where our newfound freedom will most like prove a chain in itself.
Well, that may be. But a chain can always be broken. As long as one has the will to break it, it won't be easy. It may take generations, centuries of suffering. And that is, if everyone plays their part. But it will happen. And when it does, it will be on our terms. That is the world that awaits us.
Indeed. And what better world could one wish for?
But first, we have to reach that crystal.
Then it's a good thing I have wings.
You can barely stand, let alone fly. And only the Founder knows what horrors await in those skies. You certain about this?
Am I certain? I am the Phoenix. I will do what I must. This is our fight. Remember?
All right. I yield. But only what you must, yes? I'm still your sworn shield.
That you are.
And what of my wings? Lest you forget, you go to stand against a god. I would not have you succumb to fatigue before the fight begins. Ifrit, your brother mentioned that some few of the dominants who had lost their power to you were still able to prime. Is that true?
It is. But their Eikons no longer submitted to their will.
Then mine will have to be stronger. That you both might save your strength for the battle to come.
You don't have to do this.
If you do, there's a chance you might lose all you have left.
And what have I but regret? My life ended in the Dominion. I fear death no more. Besides, I would have words with Ultima. He has much to answer for.
We are in your debt, Dion.
We can speak of debts when this is over.
He speaks like a man who knows he's not coming back. And has come to terms with that.
That doesn't mean that we have to, does it, Clive?
Time to talk to Jill. I only hope she understands.
Come to wish on a star.
That might not be such a bad idea. This is it, Jill. You know what I have to do. Why I have to do it. There's no turning back now. This is where our journey was leading us. Where it will end, for better or worse.
I could pray to Metia for you. But you'll be all right, won't you, Clive? You always are.
I did promise we'd watch the moon together.
I'll be waiting.
It's almost time. Better make sure I haven't forgotten anything. What is it this time, Torgal? Something tells me this is no mere adventure story.
Clive, my boy! Rutherford informs me that we owe you our thanks. Hadn't intended for you to get involved, but such are the times we live in, huh?
I would have done the same for anyone else.
You're far too modest, Clive. You'd make a terrible nobleman. But tell me, is the realm truly in as dire a state as Rutherford suggests?
From what little I saw, you were right to be worried.
I suppose I should have expected the worst. But I was rather hoping the great and good of the realm might have things a little more under control. Alas, it seems that firm leadership is in short supply these days, and without it, the people are bound to lose their way. We must move quickly.
But where do we start?
True, the challenges that face us are many. But in my estimation, there are two key areas to be addressed before any other. The realm's armies and her larders. As you've seen firsthand, it's every man and woman for themselves out there. Certain cities have banded together to try and maintain some semblance of order, yes? But such cases are few and far between. And yet, the only remedy for the chaos that faces us is unity. A unity that transcends even the borders laid down by our ancestors. In short, if Storm does not stand together, she will fall apart.
But how would one even begin to unite the realm?
The armies, my boy. As I told you already, we begin by restoring order among the ranks of those sworn to maintain it. Sadly, I doubt I could convince even the lowliest gaggle of privates to dig a latrine together. But I do know someone the High Commanders have been known to listen to on occasion. Field Marshal Eugen Havel.
I thought he was retired.
He was, until an Akashic army tore through Randalar and killed most of the rank and file. There is no man alive more capable. Literally. And as luck would have it, I've already spoken with him on the matter.
Of course you have.
And he's agreed to help. On one condition. That he first speaks with you personally. Havel has always been a man of frustratingly rigid principle, and he has certain qualms about clasping arms with, well, with an outlaw. I extolled your many virtues as best I could, of course, but the old goat was adamant that he be allowed to appraise you in person. You don't mind, do you, my boy?
Of course not. As long as chaos reigns, we will never build a better world. I'll do whatever it takes. And if the Field Marshal wishes to speak with me in person, then so be it.
That's the spirit.
I'll leave for Randalar at once. Would you send a Stolas?
Of course. Rutherford is already in the Dalmekian capital. I'll have him tell Havel to expect you forthwith.
Excellent. Thank you, Uncle.
No. Thank you, Clive.
Say what you will. Lady Karen has seen us.
Pining for something, boy. What is it? What do you see out there? I never did ask where you got that anklet of yours.
From Sid, that's why. On the day he brought him home.
That long ago?
And you're only thinking to ask this now? Sid saw that the pup had a habit of gnawing on his leg, since you ask. Clap that there iron on him to keep him from doing it.
What was wrong, boy?
I'll take like as not. Must have been hard on the poor whelp losing his loving masters at such a young age. Doubly hard in being a frost wolf, torn away from his Eikons and all. Sid would always tell him, you want that iron gone, you find what it is you're looking for. I reckon what he were looking for was you.
I'm sorry, Torgal. Sorry for making you wait so long. Let's get that thing off you.
Doesn't sound like he wants it off.
Indeed. You miss Sid as much as the rest of us, don't you? You want me to go with you somewhere?
Quick, aren't you? Glad you've been paying attention.
Not nearly as much as you have, Lady Karen.
Aye, good thing and all. It's not like Gav would have kept him in nuts and rubbed his belly these past 10 summers.
Your kindness is appreciated. You've been a good friend to him.
Only because he doesn't talk back like the rest of you. Go on now.
Where to then, Torgal?
What do you think happened to Miss...
Sid! You have to help us!
With what? You didn't take apart another of Mid's contraptions, did you?
No. Well, yes. But that's not what we want to talk to you about.
It's Miss Mididol. She's been acting strange. Very strange. She's barely ever around.
When she is, she acts like we aren't even there. Her head's in a crowd.
In the clouds.
That's what I said. In the clouds.
Well, she does have a lot on her mind. When did you last see her?
Not long ago. Right after she got back from saving you from Stonehenge.
Then it's probably just about the Enterprise. It did take quite a battering on the way there and back.
You didn't break it, did you, Sid? You really should be more careful around Miss Mididol's inventions. Don't listen to her. Even if you did break the Enterprise, you could put it back together, couldn't you?
But who's gonna put Miss Mididol back together? She seems really sad.
Why don't I go and see if I can cheer her up?
You do that? For us? She's in her dungeon.
Don't scare him. It's not a real dungeon.
Thanks for the warning. Mid, if you have a...
That's it! I knew it! The answer was right here under my arse all along! If this doesn't steer to the skies, nothing will!
To the skies? You aren't trying to give the Enterprise wings, are you?
What else would I be doing?
The children seem to think you're avoiding them. They're worried about you. Is this really so important that you need to shut yourself away from everyone?
The Enterprise is already the fastest ship in the realm, and that's with the sea beneath her. But what if she weren't bound to the waves? What if she weren't bound to anything at all? It's not fair. The gods get the skies all to themselves, so I'm gonna do something about it. The Fallen had their chance, but they relied too much on magic. And see where that got them? But not me. I've discovered how to do it without. Well, almost. First I need to make a prototype.
And is that a one-woman job?
Are you volunteering? I'll have you know the Enterprise is my baby. But if her godfather's offering to lend a hand, I'd be happy to take it. First, I'll need oil, and not just some old drippings from Miss Molly's spits in the tub and crown. Refined stuff, like they make in Ordil. Then I'll need some bone, or shell. Light, strong, preferably no longer attached to the beast it belongs to.
If it's beast bones you're after, I'm sure the Cursebreakers will know where you might find some.
No, they'll know where you might find some. You're the one who offered to help, remember?
I should speak with one of the Cursebreakers before I set off for Old Hill. See if I can't find this bone while I'm there as well.
Has Mididol mentioned a new project?
Vivian, I read your note, and I'd be happy to help you find the book you're looking for.
Thank you, Clive. But tracking it down will not be easy. Are you sure?
Please. You have always granted me your wisdom and insight whenever I asked. It's only right that I return the favor. Or at least attempt to.
You are too kind. Alas, what I ask of you is rather more trying than delivering the odd lecture. I spoke with Harpocrates to see if he had any inkling as to where another copy might be found, but perhaps it is best that you hear the details from him.
If you say so.
Forgive me, Clive, for asking this of you. But this book, it set me on the path to becoming who I am today. Its importance cannot be overstated.
right, Sid. Come to buy us around, have you?
Only if you earn it. Mid needs a piece of light but durable bone for her next project. You've encountered your share of beasts on your travels across the realm. Any ideas?
Most bones are the same. Whack 'em hard enough and they'll break. If it's durability you're looking for, shell will serve you better. You know what an adamantus is?
I do. And I know to give them a wide berth. Will any old adamantus do?
Well, with shells, the older the harder. There's a rumour of an ancient adamantus down in Karava, near Old Bidza, or what's left of the village anyway. But don't expect to make quick work of the bastard. There's a reason it's lived as long as it has.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you.
Sid, I was wondering if you could help me.
It depends what with.
A bearer, but recently freed from his bonds, is keen to join the Curse Breakers. As you know, the work we do is not easy, which is why we test every volunteer's suitability. I was hoping you could oversee this one's evaluation.
I don't mind, but why this one?
Because he wants to be a scout. Our ranks are filled with men and women capable of breaking chains and putting slavers to the sword. But scouting, we're few with the nose for that, which is why we still rely so heavily on Gav. And since he accompanies you on so many of your missions, I thought you might be better placed to recognize the traits in him that we should look for in those who'd fill his boots.
Sounds reasonable.
So you happy to oversee the boys' test, then?
One can never have too many scouts.
Truer words, Sid. I'll let the initiate know that you'll be attending his trial, and that he is to proceed directly to Northreach in readiness.
No time like the present, eh?
No time like the present. I'll await you there.
Northreach. I don't suppose they could have chosen somewhere closer.
Ah, Clive.
Joshua, what's wrong? And don't say nothing.
It's not nothing. I've received word from Cyril. The Undying have found Father's will, or something akin to it.
His will? How and where?
In the crypt beneath Rosalith Castle. After Kupka was kind enough to drive out the Imperials, the Undying took the opportunity to recover what relics of the Duchy yet remained. And in the process of doing so, they found a letter from Father.
I'm surprised anything survived down there.
Cyril asked that I join him in Tabor at my convenience. I have been meaning to go, but... would you join me?
Of course. I want to know what's in that letter as much as you do.
Very well. I am ready to leave when you are.
Sid, do you have a moment?
By all means.
It's my old master. Seems there's no escaping her. She found some way to send me a letter. And something else. Records from a Waluda prison. Seems they were keeping a lot of bearers there.
How did she come by such a thing?
Finding bearers always was her strong point. And it seems the cells of Balmung Dark are full of them. Foreign captives, the masterless. Bearers no one would miss. And even better for her, bearers with no one to look after them. When aether started lapping at the walls, the jailers fled.
Leaving the bearers to be liberated by whoever happened to come along next.
Sid, I'd like to believe that I've earned your trust by now. And while I'm well aware that you've forbidden Cursebreakers from traveling to Waloed, I can't let those bearers die in their cells. I'd rather risk shipwreck on the Shadow Coast than leave them to starve.
We'll be needing the Enterprise if we're going to navigate the Narrow.
Does that mean...
I'm making an exception, but we travel together. And we stay no longer than we have to. Ash is an inhospitable place at the best of times. We save as many as we can, and we leave.
Thank you, Sid. There was a name in the prison register. A name from my past. Chadwick. Another of my former master's protégés. A gifted soldier, and the closest thing I had to family. The thought of him held captive in that place.
He must be very important to you.
He was. Is.
Then we find him.
The entrance to the prison lies in the shadow of Ravenwit walls, just beyond the portcullis. We should head there as quickly as we can. I only pray there are still bearers alive to save.
As do I, Doris. All right, Torgal. Where are you taking me? I'm going to need a little bit more than that, boy. Do you have a better hint for me? Unless... you've already given me one. Back on the rear deck, you were looking west, toward Rosaria. Why don't we try the rookery? I haven't been to the island in almost 20 years. To Port Isolde, then. Fingers crossed the old mooring is still there.
Clive, my boy. What a pleasure it is to see you.
Hippocrates. There's something I need to ask you. I've been charged with locating a book called From a Distance.
Then you seek a rare gem indeed. One whose name I had not thought to hear from your lips. You've been talking to Vivian.
Right as always. But she didn't seem keen to tell me very much. I take it she didn't like what you had to say.
And yet I gather it did naught to dissuade her. Clive, if the young professor has tasked you with obtaining a copy, I fear she asks the impossible. The executors would not allow it.
The executors?
Coveters of Secrets. A clandestine organization committed to the collection and intenebration of forbidden texts and technologies. One such text being the tome Vivian seeks, chronicling as it does the true history of the enslavement of bearers. A tale which could overturn the established order were it ever to become widely known. Or, so rumor has it. I've never actually read the thing, or even set eyes on it for that matter.
How is it that I haven't heard of this organization?
Why, secrecy is the executor's watchword. They lurk in the shadows, emerging only to seize that which must be seized, be it books, inventions, or people, before disappearing again, leaving nary a trace.
Which would explain why Vivian's copy was snatched from her grasp not long after she found it.
By the hand of the executors, yes.
But what drives them? Self-interest or ideology?
A fine question. Sadly, all that is known of the executors can be recounted in a single breath. You may just as soon ask me of their origins, numbers, or the identities of their leaders. Any answer I give would be pure speculation.
Then my hunt was doomed from the first. What was Vivian expecting? That I'd pluck it from thin air?
Not from thin air, no. From ash. Rumors of the executors are rife among the scholars of Storm, but rather less so across the strait. I have a friend, well, I had a friend in the village of Garnick, a collector of rare tomes, upon which subject we would oft correspond. Alas, I have heard naught from him since the skies fell dark. And no doubt he too has turned. But though he did not mention it by name, it is possible that a surviving copy of From a Distance yet rests upon one of his many shelves, quietly awaiting discovery. If you were, by some chance, able to save even a single book from the poor man's library, I know his soul would rest easier.
Very well. When I next find myself in Waloed, I'll be sure to pay Garnick a visit.
Say what you will, Lady Karen has seen our...
Miss Shirley says your book's made quite an impression on the children.
That crystal certainly don't bode well. But just think of all the secrets it must hold.
I will not let them be forgotten. Sid, may I have a moment?
Of course.
It is an honor to finally speak with you. My name is Herman. I've been with the Cursebreakers for some time now, and I wish to be deployed to Ash. Any assignment will do.
No. The lands across the Narrow are too dangerous. I will not send good men and women to risk their lives needlessly. Why would you want to go back?
I need to retrieve something. Something important. I was raised in an orphanage. The Badbach Conservatory. Or rather, I was held captive there. It was not a place of nurture. It existed solely to turn bearer children into mindless weapons. We were tortured until we feared no pain. Tormented until our hearts turned to stone. And few ever survived long enough to become tools of the last king.
I can't imagine.
I lost so many. I can't even remember all their names. But they must be remembered. They cannot fade away, faceless and forgotten. The Institute was run with military precision. Every child measured, every name recorded, every death logged with meticulous care. Sid, allow me to travel to Ash and recover the registry so that my brothers and sisters might live on.
You were a good friend, Herman. But the fact remains that Ash is simply too dangerous.
Sid, please. Even should it cost me my life.
Too dangerous for you, Herman. But not for me. I'll go to Badbach and find the registry.
You will?
I won't let you risk your life.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can start by telling me where I'll find this orphanage.
Vida Grace. Hidden in a forest, overlooking the plains.
All right. I'll see what I can find there.
May the mothers guide you.